This is part 2 of the 1979 murder of Hubert Otha Toby, a air traffic controller at the Abilene Regional Airport, who was murdered by Clifton Charles Russell. What we have covered in part 1, if you haven't heard that, you can go back and listen to that now. He was getting off of work at midnight one night. Actually, it was December 2nd, 1979. Went to get gas in his wife's car on the corner of South 7th and Treadway. There he encountered his would-be murderers and was found at an abandoned home on the 500 block of Thomas Street. Yes.
I actually don't know if we know that's where he encountered the murderers. We just know that Toby was at this gas station and that his body was found later. Maybe he drove to this house on Thomas Street, Devil's Advocate, and the murderers, maybe he was meeting them there and they killed him there. Who knows?
Part 2 of the murder of Hubert Otha Toby.
From the Stream Center in Abilene, Texas, the home of KTAB and KRBC, this is Cross-Examine on BigCountryHomepage.com.
Welcome to part 2 of this case. Again, it is the 1979 murder of Hubert Otha Toby, capital murder case. I am Victor Sotelo, and joining me is
Adam Singleton.
And I'm Erica Garner.
So we have talked about in part 1 so far. Erica, will you recap for us what we've talked about?
Yeah, so just some facts that we recapped in the first part of the case. We basically were following the victim and what we know happened to him. We know that he left work. He went to this self-manned gas station on South 7th and Treadway. He tried to pump gas at 11:56 with his car. No gas was pumped. 3 minutes later, at 11:59, gas was pumped, 20 gallons. We don't know what happened in those 3 minutes. And we don't know what happened to Toby that night because the next morning his body was found nearby on a house on Thomas Street in a very violent scene. There was bloody concrete. There were lacerations to his throat. He was partially naked. His pants were found with the pockets turned out. Some items like his jacket and his wife's jacket that were in the car were also found at the crime scene. But the car was missing as well as his cards, like his credit cards, his ID, and his boots that he was wearing. And
they threw his pants on the roof of the house?
Yeah, it was like a storage shed or something like that. Yeah.
Again, this street does not exist anymore. The structures don't exist anymore. It is along the Cedar Creek Walkway, just a few yards from South 7th, and people walk by there all the time, not knowing at all what happened there in 1979.
Or even that this was a neighborhood at one point.
Or even this was a neighborhood. That's right.
But we really got into that last time. I think what Victor wants to start us off with this time is we have left the victim. He's dead, and we now are following the timeline of what happened after that with the victim's car and also the suspects.
And this involves some Abilene police officers. This is where they were first spotted by outside witnesses. By the way, nobody knows what happened right now, including the Abilene police officers, when they saw this vehicle, Toby's vehicle, driven by these two suspects, Russell and Batee.
It was less than an hour later, so just to kind of orient ourselves, the last time that Toby's vehicle was identified on our timeline was at 11:59 p.m. when 20 gallons of gas were pumped, assumingly into this vehicle. And then again, it was spotted at 12:50 a.m., so about an hour later, a little bit less than, at a gas station on, where is it, East Highway 80?
East Highway 80 in Thomas Street. And actually I went and shot some...
grocery store, sorry, not a gas station.
Yeah, we shot some video of this area, and we'll put that up in just a minute. So it's an old grocery store that is no longer there. We did find the exact, Erica, you found the exact gas station where these 3 officers, 2 of them were partners, 1 of them was independent, and saw this vehicle at this gas station.
A grocery store.
A grocery store. And that exact place on Thomas Street and East Highway 80 is now a business.
It's a pest patrol business.
Pest patrol business. The mayor's pest patrol business. I wonder if he knows.
Shout out Mayor Hurt.
Yeah, did you know?
There was once a murderer inside your business.
That's right.
Yes.
So the car, by the way, and how they identified the car, because we mentioned in the first episode, this vehicle, Toby's vehicle, did have a defective
Tail.
tail light. And this is what stood out to 3 Abilene police officers that spotted this car soon after gas was pumped. Right, Erica?
Yeah, so these documents that we have, so the first officer, he was on patrol 12:50 a.m. He stops at this grocery store. It was called the Minute Stop Grocery in the 1970s. He saw this gray Lincoln Continental with no taillight, and he also observed what he described as a white male with curly brown hair standing outside of it, and he saw a black male come from the store and get into the car, and they drove away. And that he didn't think anything of it. He was just like, weird, car with the taillight out.
So the white male, we believe that was Clifton Russell because he was mixed race, but I'm guessing he was more fair
He was very white passing.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, that comes into play later that we're going to talk about.
Yes.
So they saw the black male hurriedly come to the car.
That would be Petit.
Petit. One officer said he saw Russell sitting in the car as
Yeah, the other officer's testimony, I'm reading that right now. This is the one where he said that the black male came out in a hurry, got in the car, and that the white male was already in the driver's seat, and they drove away.
And when they drove away, they go west,
Yes.
which takes us to the rest of the timeline. When is the next time we know where they're at? You have a question?
I do, yes, because there was a defective tail light.
Uh-huh.
So I would think an officer would stop
Why
them
would they not pull them over?
because there's evidence in the car of the murder.
There is. Yeah,
which
we'll get to that
could have been
later.
spotted had he been stopped in Abilene.
3 officers, 1 officer who was by himself, and then 2 officers who were patrolling together, all spotted this defective taillight, and we're like, that's kind of strange.
They
They
leave
let him
the
go.
area going west, and when is the next time that we have record of them, Erica,
Yes.
driving west in this car, apparently towards Midland?
Yeah, so it is we're still the morning of December 3rd. So this is after Toby's body had been found. They made it to Midland sometime between 9:30 and 10:30 a.m.
9:30 and 10:30 a.m. They were in Midland.
They
This
drove
is
all night.
around the time that Toby's body was being discovered in Abilene.
Oh, yeah,
at,
that's
at
true.
that Thomas Street.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is around the same time. So meanwhile, the suspects are in Midland.
Yeah, they're in Midland, and they are unsuccessfully trying to pawn a television set. Where they got this television set, I don't know, but there is one pawn shop owner, a Big Tex pawn there in Midland, who said they came inside, and the man that was white passing, so Russell tried to use an ID that had Toby or Tomey, Tomey on it. This clerk couldn't remember, and they also gave the wrong birthday, and it didn't really look like Russell. So this pawn shop owner did not let them pawn the TV set. He sent them away.
So they go to another pawn shop.
They go to another
And
pawn
this first
shop.
pawn shop owner took down the license plate, didn't he? I believe
Let
he
me
did.
let me.
I think you're right. It was either this one or the next one.
Yes, when the 2 men left, this owner took the license number of the car, which he believed to be MXM997, which was Toby's car.
And that will be evidence.
Yes.
There you go.
And then a little bit later, a police officer, a Midland police officer, so our 4th police officer now that has spotted these guys on their journey, saw them outside of another pawn shop, and they were unloading a television set from the car and taking it inside.
And this is
that's
just
all it says
outside of
about that
Midland, so
one.
they're moving on from Midland at this
Yeah.
point.
Now, I don't know if they were able to successfully pawn the TV set at the second location. We don't have any testimony from inside there, just an officer that's like, yeah, I saw these guys with the television set
TV.
outside of another pawn shop.
And then we talked about this in the last episode. This is they befriend people apparently, and
Yeah.
they did it again.
Yeah, this is honestly one of the crazier arcs to the story. So they're just driving along. They encounter this man who says his name was Michael Wicker. He was apparently hitchhiking from Plains, Texas to Hobbs, New Mexico. And then sometime the afternoon of the 3rd, so after these guys have left Midland, they've been driving for a while, they encounter this hitchhiker, Michael Wicker, and they befriend him. They pick him up. And Michael Wicker immediately gets in the car, and he was like, why is there blood in here? Why are you guys bloody? Because there's blood in the car. There's
in their
blood all over their clothes. And so Batee, this is the second suspect, Russell's friend, told the hitchhiker they got the car from Russell's, quote, old lady, and that she had punched Russell in the nose when they took the keys. So that's why there was blood everywhere. That's why the clothes are bloody. That's why the car is bloody. So I guess this guy was like, oh, okay, whatever.
Sure,
Let's
sounds
go.
fine.
They all went into Hobbs to the mall to get themselves a little lunch, have some fun.
And then they're there at lunch. They're drinking,
Yes,
apparently.
they're getting really rambunctious. They're trying to pick up ladies. I think they are getting a little aggressive with that. They're causing a scene. So cops are called to the mall, and they initially are only interested in Batee, the obvious black man of the group, and he apparently is being the most aggressive. But then the hitchhiker and Russell go over to Batee when he's getting questioned by the cops, and I guess they all end up being a little bit belligerent, yelling, cursing.
Which all this is exactly the way that Clifton and Russell have been described as doing in previous.
Yeah.
So there was a case like this
cases.
before the murder.
Yes.
Erica, we went over that in the
Yes.
first episode. There was this kind of the same thing that involved Toby and the murder, and then they do it again over in West Texas, somewhere between
Yes.
Midland and Hobbs.
But at this point, their lunch got a little too rambunctious, and all three of them, Russell, Batee, and their newly befriended hitchhiker, ended up in jail in Hobbs, New Mexico. And that's when this case starts to come to a close.
Because the Hobbs Police Department has a conversation with the Abilene Police
Yes.
Department, and they figure out that this vehicle
Belongs
is
to Toby.
involved in a murder because earlier that same day, 9:30, they're trying to pawn this TV. The body's being discovered over in Abilene, and so it's all coming together now. It's all coming to a head now.
And so they start investigating. They get a warrant for the car. They are able to they took only Batee's shoes. They had blood on them. And and they took all of Russell's clothes. They took his pants, underwear, shirt, and shoes. And I think it's worth noting that all items, save the shoes, had what appeared to be fresh blood on them. And there also were no wounds whatsoever to Russell or Batee.
So this brings us to the evidence
Yes.
in the case, and one of them is that the blood evidence. They did test the blood in
Yes.
this, and they found out that this blood does not belong to Russell. It doesn't belong to Batee. It doesn't belong to the hitchhiker. So who does it belong to?
They
Obviously.
actually were able to, even in 1979, determine with a 0.005% accuracy that it was the victim's blood. It was that rare of a blood type.
And here's the other thing: a footprint found at the gas station where the credit card was used matched the footprint found at the 500 block of Thomas Street and matched the tennis shoes that Batee was wearing. That places him.
And that's
at
the
all,
only thing that ties Russell and Batee to being at that gas station.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
It's all just random circumstantial evidence. Like they found, you know how the boots were missing when Toby's body was found? They eventually found those boots at some random cemetery in Midland, where Midland is where Batee and Russell had been spotted trying to pawn the TV.
Mm-hmm.
So
This all led to obviously that's not what led to her arrest. They were already in custody, but this kind of wrapped up this whole case. Obviously, Russell had a trial, and
Yes.
he was found guilty.
yes.
Capital murder.
Capital murder, and a big part of that conviction was unfortunately for Russell, Batee did testify against him. He took a plea deal. I think he only pleaded to murder. He got 60 years in prison, and as a part of that plea deal, he did testify against Russell.
Russell was found guilty, as we said, of capital murder. He was actually put to death in January 31st of 1995, and there's something unique about that day as well.
That is the first time the state of Texas used lethal injection to kill multiple people on the same day. And it was the first time in a long time that multiple offenders have been killed in the state of Texas on the same day. I think, let me check my notes right here, but previously 1951. So, oh my gosh, that's almost 4 decades before this. There were 3 alleged rapists that were killed on the same day in Texas by the electric chair. But on this day when Russell was killed with the lethal injection, Russell showed up first. They injected him, and then they cleaned everything out. They swapped out the needles, and they injected a second offender, whose name was Willie Williams, and he had murdered and robbed a Houston convenience store clerk. So
Two death penalty cases handled on one day. Now, we kind of went through that kind of quick, but
Yeah.
only because he's convicted, he's put to death. Now we're going to get into why Russell, or maybe why this Russell has this mentality. Erica, you found some testimony from Russell's mom.
yeah.
And this all comes from, I would imagine, would be the sentencing portion. So he's found guilty, and this is when they're determining whether he's going to get the death penalty. And so in this part of a case, usually you have character testimony, and that's where you can come in and the rules of the court are loosened a little bit, and you can say, this is why he's this way, and this is why this and that, and it kind of makes the case of whether
They call mom
give
as a character
death-
witness to
Yes.
talk about how her son grows up. Erica, you've identified a
Yeah.
spot in the testimony.
I think before we read about that, though, we can just kind of highlight some of the other things about his childhood. His mom talked about how she was never really in a stable relationship. She had him around a bunch of men. She admitted that his biological father was a man that she just had an affair with. He had another wife and family, and this biological father of Russell never really knew him. He met him for the first time when he was 7. They never had a relationship. As Clifton Charles Russell Sr. was one of mom's longtime boyfriends, who was just like, you can put my name on the birth certificate, it's fine. So that's how he ended up being a junior, even though that man is not his father. And mom had a legitimate marriage to a man named R.C. Lacey, who was Russell's longtime stepfather. And there was an incident. This happened, so the murder of Toby was December 3rd, 1979. There was a very violent incident that happened to Russell.
Russell was 18.
He was 18.
at the time of the murder.
Yes.
So he's very young.
He had just turned 18 on August 5th of that year. And on August 26th, there was a very violent incident where he was almost killed by his stepdad, R.C. Lacey. And that's the transcription that I would think that would be good for us to read. It kind of talks about word for word, according to mom, what happened that day.
Okay, where should we start, Erica?
So page 724 of our little transcript here.
Got it.
Sorry, we old school cool. We printed this out.
Yeah.
So about halfway down, you see where the questioner says, "Okay, now when your husband is R.C. Lacey, is that correct?" And that's the attorney questioning mom. I think that's where we should start.
Okay, so I'll play attorney because mom says yes to that question.
Yes.
And then the next question is, when he hit Junior at the particular time, was there anything that caused that action to come about? Because he's asking about when this means stepdad,
Yes.
hits Junior
Yes.
with a baseball bat.
Yes, and Junior, by the way, is what mom refers to Russell as.
Clifton Russell.
Yes,
Okay.
she called him Junior.
So there was an incident where stepdad hits Junior Russell with a baseball bat, and the attorney asked about that. And again,
Yes.
the question is, when he hit Junior at the particular time, was there anything that caused the action to come about?
Not that there hadn't been any fighting between them. There had been some words, but no fighting.
What did they have words about?
He had shot me,
Who shot you?
my husband.
Was this at that time?
No, it was before that.
How long before?
Approximately 9 months before he hurt my son.
Let me turn the page here. Okay. What was there about being shot 9 months before that caused your husband to attack Charles Russell?
Well, my son asked him why he shot me because my husband told him it was accidental. And Junior, my son, wanted to know why he shot me 3 times if it was accidental, why he shot the gun at me 3 times without shooting me. And then when he hit me, it was the 3rd shot that hit me. So he wanted to know if it was accidentally or why the gun went off accidentally 3 times.
You have a question look on your face, Adam.
It's just a lot. So stepdad shoots mom, but he's apparently fired 3 shots.
Accidentally.
Allegedly, accidentally.
Accidentally fires off 3 shots, one of them hitting the mother, And so it sounds like Clifton is basically confronting his stepdad about shooting. He's
Yeah,
saying,
like
"How
9
is
months.
this an
later.
9 months after the
9
incident.
months later,
He's
how is
stewing
this an
about
accident
this.
if you shot 3 times?"
Yeah.
Next question. And did you explain to Junior Russell at the time anything about the nature of the shooting?
I didn't tell him about it because I didn't want to upset him. He's very protective over me.
Okay, Clifton Charles Russell.
I think we can skip to the
Okay.
next page. But wait, because my
There goes your
microphone. But anyway, the attorney is asking about the fight. Says when the fight broke out between Junior and your husband, who started the fight? And then so the mom says there wasn't any fight to it. He walked up beside my son, hit him from behind with the baseball bat. There's no fight to it.
And where is this?
It is on the top of the page.
Oh, there's no fight to it.
726, yeah.
Where was Junior at the time?
He was sitting on the picnic table in the yard.
He was by himself?
No, my stepson, my youngest stepson, was in the yard with them at the time.
Okay, did Junior attempt or was able to fight back or anything like that?
No, because when I came outside, I heard my little boy screaming. When I came outside, I found him lying on the ground. My husband was still hitting him with the baseball bat.
Was Junior trying to get away?
He couldn't get away. He was unconscious.
Okay, what did Mr. Lacey do then?
I tried to stop him, and he hit me with the baseball bat, so that's Mom. He's now beating Mom with the bat, and she couldn't stop him, so she went in the house and got a gun.
Okay, and where did Mr. Lacey go to?
He followed me inside, and I guess she tried to shoot him because she then says when the gun misfired, he started to hit her with the bat.
Did you point the gun at him or anything like that?
Yes. Yeah, I did.
Did the gun go off?
No, because the night before he had been out with his rat shot in the 22, and I guess this particular gun, when you use the rat shot in it, when you put those logs back in it, it snaps for some reason, and so the first couple of times you pulled the trigger, it wouldn't go off right.
Who had the gun?
I had the gun.
Did you keep the gun?
No, when he hit me with the bat, he took the gun away from me.
Where did he hit it? Where did he hit you with the bat?
In the head.
Did it hurt you?
Yeah, they took me to the hospital, put some stitches in my head.
Did you know anything about what happened after that?
Junior managed to get up sometime later. I don't really know how long later because when he hit me with the bat, it was a pretty hard blow. But when I managed to get up and get outside, Junior, was going through the woods and my husband was shooting at him.
Was Mr. Lacey was shooting at Junior as he was running away. Do you know if any of the shots hit Junior or anything?
No, they didn't because he managed to get to our house is surrounded by the woods.
All right.
He managed to get away, and a veterinarian later found him laying beside the road, picked him up, carried him off to the sheriff's office, and the sheriff's office took him to the hospital. I think we can stop reading there. Basically, what happened after that is Russell was taken to the hospital where he went intensive surgery because his face was that badly beaten, and I think one of maybe his leg or arm as well. He was admitted to the hospital in Galveston in August 27th. So again, newly 18 as of August 5th. August 27th, he's in the hospital. He gets released from the hospital September 6th, and then the murder happens here in Abilene, December 3rd.
It was that close together.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
All of this stuff was so close together.
So just kind of clarifying on that. So he confronted stepdad, and this was later that he was assaulted. He's just sitting there on the bench.
Yeah, according
And
to
then
Mom.
dad comes up from behind, hits him with a bat, beats him, turns on Mom, gunshots. Then he's shooting at Russell as Russell's trying to run away.
Yes, and then Russell's later found lying on the road.
Wow.
Goes into his childhood, goes into
Not even
Well-
childhood. That just happened to him.
And what I think is what struck me as ironic after reading all of this and sitting with it for a while, I'm like, wow, Toby was allegedly killed in almost a very similar manner, beaten with a concrete block.
That Russell almost was months before.
Yeah, and Russell was almost killed with a baseball bat, a bludgeoning as well.
As we run out of time, Erica, you have this in your notes here. So do I, but I would like you to read, like we said, Russell was put to death in January 31st, 1995. Can you go over his last words as he was put to death?
I'd like to thank my family and friends for sticking with me through all of this. I'd like to encourage my brothers to continue to run the race. I thank my Father, God in heaven, for the grace he's granted me.
The last words of Clifton Charles Russell for the murder of Toby in December 2nd, 1979. Again, Toby was air traffic controller. I'd like to talk a little bit about him. He also had a son who testified. in the court case. The son is who said that, yeah, Toby left work, drove mom's car, and was at work on time. He saw his dad leave work, and that's the last he saw of him.
And his wife said, hey, get gas on the way home, and
apparently
that's where everything went wrong.
All right.
Wow.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Cross Examined.
Our first episode.
Thank you guys for all the research. Erica, thank you
Yes,
for all the
thank you.
research. And if you have any suggestions of what case we should cover next, get a hold of us at bigcountryhomepage.com.